Thank you, Rosemary. It's a hard act to follow the Sunday bar, but we'll see what we can do. Welcome, everybody. I hope everyone had a great, restful, and relaxing summer. I'm looking forward to working with the entire elementary school staff this year as we really roll out a new instructional initiative with the iPads. And wherever I go, when I start talking with teachers, when I start talking with Board of Education members, community members, the question that I most frequently get is, why the iPad? And the essence of the question is legitimate. The essence of the question is valid. But the structure of the question is not valid. And only when you restructure this question can you truly come to an understanding of the reasons that went behind the selection of the iPad as the device that we're going to use going forward. So when I talk to people, I say the better question for you, and really this is a question that we should always be asking ourselves when we get these kinds of questions, is what do we need to support our beliefs? What do we need to support our purpose? What do we need to support our cause? That's the structure of the question that I prefer to answer, and that will get to the essence of the question of why the iPad. The way that I choose to answer this question is based upon something called the Golden Circle by Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek is an inspirational leader, or speaker, who goes around and he talks about great dynamic innovative leaders, corporations that are very successful. And while the format that he uses is a little bit different than I am, the essence of it still remains. The first part of the Golden Circle talks about the why. And the why in this case is not why the iPad, but really truly getting to the why do we do what we do? Why do we get up in the morning? What is our purpose? What is the cause? What is the reasons that we come and we teach year after year? When you truly start getting an understanding of that why, we can then start moving into the next Golden Circle, which is the how. We've identified our purpose, our beliefs, our cause. How do we actualize that? What are the processes that we need to do to achieve our purpose, our cause? And only when we answer those questions can we come to the final question, is what do we need? What do we need for the process? What do we need in order for us to realize our purpose and our cause? So I answer the question based upon that format. So if we start with the why, again, our purpose, our beliefs, why do we get up in the morning? Well, we believe that we make a difference every single day. And every single day we make a little difference, and every single day we make a large difference. But rest assured, we make a significant difference in the lives of our students every single day, and that's why we teach. We believe that every child can learn, but they all learn differently, and that's okay. We believe every single day that we must provide the greatest opportunities, resources, and experiences for our students in order for them to achieve their maximum potential, in order for them to achieve success. And that's why we teach. I truly believe that this is our purpose and our cause, and I'm sure that you believe that as well. So then we say, okay, we've identified the why. Why do we get up? Why do we come to school? So now we need to say, how? How do we go about achieving all of these beliefs? And we know that we must utilize relevant resources on a daily basis. That we can't use resources that are rooted in past or that are not really relevant to the learning of today and the learning styles of our students. We know that we must utilize tools that are multisensory, have multi-purpose. We can't have blinders on and say, okay, we're just going to have one-size-fits-all instruction. We know that that doesn't work. We know that there are different learning styles that each student brings to the table, and we need to address those. And everything that we do cannot just serve one purpose, but it has to have multiple purposes in order for us to achieve our goals. And we know that we need to accommodate mobility. 21st century learning is no longer about sitting in your desk, in your rows for the most of the day. It's about doing, moving, collaborating, communicating. So we must support that mobility in order to achieve our purpose. We know that we must support our most special students. These are the ones that take up probably the most of our time. But we need to always make sure that they are supported so that they have the same opportunities as the students that do not have learning disabilities. We know that we must, on a daily basis, engage our students, motivate our students, keep their interest level high. And every single year, this gets increasingly more difficult, but it is something that we must do. And we know we must be supported. We can't do it alone. We're not an island unto ourselves. We know that every classroom requires all sorts of different supports, and we realize that. So we've identified our purpose, our why we teach. We've identified the how we go about realizing those purposes, and then we can come to that essence of that first question, why the iPad, which we changed to what are the resources we need to support our beliefs. The what is the resources that support the how and the why. And we've chosen the iPad to answer these questions. The iPad has relevance. It is relevant today. If you take a look at touchscreen technology, whether it's an iPad or any kind of touchscreen, that's becoming more and more prevalent in the workforce. You take a look at ER doctors, they're walking around with their iPads and interacting with their iPads. You see newscasters who have, now it's a prop probably, but they have their iPads, they probably don't use it, but it's a relevant prop. All right? They don't. It's a prop. But that's okay. You see construction workers who are out on the field, engaged in whatever they're doing, but they have their iPad. I had a conversation with speaking of relevance, I had a conversation with a kindergarten teacher over the summer recently. And we were talking about the introduction of iPads, and she brought up a very good point. She said, last year, for the first time, when her kindergarten students came into the class and they went to the computers, before they even reached for the mouse, they were tapping the screen. Now, if that doesn't tell you about relevance, I don't know what else does. We know that the iPad can be an incredible, incredible differentiator, and we know that we strive to differentiate our instructions for all of our students, and yet it is so hard to do. It is so, so hard to do. The iPad is, I think, the great differentiator. It has all sorts of accessibility functions that you can utilize that address the different modalities that students learn with. You can touch it, you can pinch it, you can squeeze it, you can do all sorts of squiggles with it. They're interacting. You can differentiate apps so that if you're engaged in a learning app, that you can differentiate the levels so that those students who maybe need a little bit more remediation, you can adjust for that on the fly. And those students who are going well ahead, you can adjust for that. So you can keep that differentiation and instruction through the iPad. You can talk to the iPad. The iPad will talk back to you. So it is really what we think is a great differentiator. It supports mobility. Now, there is a difference between a device that is mobile and a device that has mobility. If we take a look at our laptops are a mobile device. I can start at point A, and I can work on it. I can put it under my shoulder, and I can walk over to point B, and I can set it up, and I can continue to work on it. That's a mobile device. But it doesn't support mobility. Mobility is what happens in between point and A, because those are teachable moments in between point and A. We just don't learn at point A and learn at point B. We learn in between. We have kids who are in the hallways taking video, taking snapshots, dictating some things as they go. We have kids who can go out onto the field during PE and engage in the iPad while they're being mobile. We can have kids take these on field trips and still be engaged in that mobility. So they don't just have to be using their iPad while they're sitting down. They can be engaged while they're going between point A and point B, because a lot of times there are many teachable moments between point A and point B. Our special needs students. I think all of you have probably seen the power that the iPad brings in supporting our special needs students. The resources that are available are incredible. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen students who maybe they're autistic, they have socialization issues, and I've seen them engage in the iPad in simulated scenarios with the iPad to learn those skills, to learn how to react to certain situations, and then being able to transfer those skills into a real-life social environment with their peers, their teachers, and their parents. I've seen that happen. I've seen our nonverbal students become part of the mainstream. We know that our nonverbal students have a wealth of information and knowledge and intellect up there that they just can't get out through a verbal process. But they need to, they want to, they should. And through the apps, some of the apps that I've seen, we've now been able to give voice to our nonverbal students. We've been able to have them communicate with their parents, their peers, their teachers, like they never have before. It is an incredible device. I think the most powerful group, or the group that it supports the most, are our special needs students. And I really look forward to integrating this more and more with them as we go forward. It is a motivational tool. I'm probably sure you've all seen that. When you tell the kids that you're pulling out an iPad or everything, the motivation level goes up. They're engaged in games. Now, games sometimes can be a four-letter word in the world of education. But I would argue that the concept of gamification not only supports our core curriculum, but it supports 21st century skills. Take this, the research shows that when you're engaged in a game, you're learning about certain content and maybe certain skills. But you're also engaged in problem solving, critical thinking. How do I get to the next level? What did I do that made me fail getting to that next level? And what are some of the strategies or techniques that I can come up with creatively to get to that next level? So I would say that, yes, they are engaged in games when I talk to parents. And I say that's okay, because part of being engaged in a game is not only learning the content, but learning those critical skills necessary to survive. Critical problem solving, creativity. It has the built-in supports, the iPad does. I've worked with a lot of technology companies over the last 12 years that I've been in this position. Apple has a history of having an education focus. They have a history of not only selling you a product and walking away, but building a partnership with you and walking with you. We have professional developers that come in and they engage us here in our conference. As a matter of fact, we have a group from Apple today, from the retail stores that are partnering with us to provide you some of the workshops with Apple. And we will continue to partner with them because we have a program with these retail stores that you can go online and sign up for some of their workshops at the retail stores free of charge. We have partnerships with them behind the scenes that you don't really see, but we do. Systems engineers, account managers. I have a whole team from Apple that I work with collaboratively to get things to where they need to be. It's an incredible partnership, and those are the built-in supports that I think makes Apple a choice vendor for us as we go forward. So that's the long answer of the why the iPad. You can see that why the why, the essence of that original question, is legitimate. You have to understand why we do what we do first before you can fully answer the reasons why we've selected the iPad. So what are we getting? Every classroom, grade level classroom teacher will get a full set of iPads, and they will have a charging cart. Every classroom will get a full set of keyboards that they will have readily accessible to their teachers and students. Full classroom set of headsets with microphones, because we love that multimedia functionality. It brings a lot to the table. We have apps that we've identified. We'll be putting them up. A lot of them should be loaded in your self-service right now. And as we go through the fall, we're going to continue to identify more apps that will support what you're doing in the classroom. And we're moving to Google Apps for Education for grades 4 and 5, and I would suspect that as time goes by, we may be able to move this down to the lower levels. It would not be unprecedented. Okay. I hope you're not here. Our intention is not to drown you. It's not to drown you, although some of you may feel that. Our intention is to get you on that sailboat in the back. We'll get there. We will get there. So how will we get there? Well, as Rosemary said, this is day one of the professional development program. It will be ongoing throughout the school year. Take full advantage of the wonderful opportunities that you have now, as well as when you come back at Election Day. We have a series of early adopters in every single one of the schools. These early adopters are your colleagues who have volunteered and said, I'm ready to implement this and try things in the classroom. Provide me with feedback so that we can adjust our plan. We have a plan, but every plan, only the best plans are adjustable. We'll take feedback from them. They'll be in your schools so that if you're unfamiliar, what does an iPad classroom look like? What do you do? That you'll be able to go into those classrooms and actually see an iPad classroom in action. Once, twice, maybe talk to your colleagues, get some ideas. And then when you're ready for your classroom iPads, we'll get it to you. We're not going to get it to you before you're ready. We need you to have a confidence level. Instead of jamming it down your throat, we want to be respectful of your comfort level. We have hired a technology specialist. I've sent out a number of emails. Lisa Savage is right in the back corner. Lisa Savage came on to our staff in the spring of last year. Lisa went through Google certification training over the summer, and we've been sending her to a lot of different trainings. She's a resource to you. We are going to model her support of you based upon what Patty Renaud does for the websites. So if you need somebody, hey, I don't understand this, I have this problem, can you co-teach, can you model, can you just come in and be an extra set of eyes, can you help me set passwords, call her, email her. Her job is to support you in the classroom. And the final thing that I'll talk about is this is a significant change, and we all know that change is not an event, change is a process. We talk about this being a process that may take 3, 4, 5 years. And some of us will get to the end game sooner than others, but rest assured, I'm so confident in this group that we will all get to that end game, whatever it is, and we haven't even defined it yet. And I don't know if we'll ever define that. But it is a process. So take advantage of all the resources that we're trying to provide you. Please make sure that you're giving us feedback. We want to make sure that we change based upon what your needs are. The last thing I'll talk about is the self-service. We have populated the self-service with all of the apps that are here being presented today. So you can go into the self-service app and you can do an install. When you click on the self-service, you'll see there are a number of them. Please do not go boom, 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 all right? Do that when you're at home, all right? Because we got a lot of things going on and we don't want to slow down. So if you go into a particular professional development, please just click on that once and let that download so that we preserve the bandwidth. All right? I hope you guys have a great year. Just as a side personal service, it is Hug Your Building Tech Support Day today. So make sure that you take care of them, okay? Have a great year, everybody. Take care.